But you're probably wondering, what comes after pharmacy school? What is it like? Good morning, people. Coffee cheers. Bam. Chameleon cold brew on deck. For y'all that don't know, I'm Kevin Yee, the Pharm D, and I've been making YouTube videos for a while about pharmacy and other stuff. I've been a pharmacist for a few years now. Recently I was doing some research about like what's going on. When I first started doing videos, there was no one else doing YouTube videos, but now we got people like my friend Mimi, Brian Fong. We even got like makeup people like EmJustLikeYou. So it's really cool to be someone who actually helps spark this up. But you're probably wondering, what comes after pharmacy school? What is it like? I graduated 2013. Being out of school for quite a while, I want to give you my insight. This video was really inspired by like EmJustLikeYou. I just thought her video was really good, and I just want to give a shout out to her. If you haven't checked out her video, I'll put it in the description below. But anyways, as I was graduating pharmacy school, I just felt like I was the only one without a job offer. You see your friends to your left, some of them are going to residency, some of them got matched. The ones on the right, oh, they're going to do straight up retail. Everybody has a plan, and here I was, I didn't have any sort of plan at all, and honestly I felt like a brat. I felt like I was entitled to a job after working for them for so long, but I never really thought about the true value that I had. I just thought, you know, if you remain loyal, you're entitled to that job. But honestly, I was a spoiled brat. At the end of the day, no one wants to just hire you because you're just loyal. You really have to provide some sort of value prop, right? At the time I was like, fuck. So I can't get a job back home. I talked to my DM, she just didn't like me at the time. I just never felt we had that good connection. So I do a Hail Mary, I reach out to HR with CVS and I was like, I'm willing to go to California. Are there any jobs in the LA area? Because fuck it, all my other friends were going and I never thought I'd be out here, but I just do a Hail Mary. I luckily got an interview. It was like in Woodland Hills, so for y'all that don't know, it's like northern LA County. I got switched all the way to somewhere called Camarillo, which is hella far. Honestly, it would take me like an hour to get to work, especially when I was living with the JK crew or like Joe and all them in Whittier. It would take me like 2 to 3 hours sometimes because I was traveling 60 miles just one way. I think after that I was kind of really unhappy actually. I was working this retail chain, it was so busy, and I'm not saying it's a shitty job, I don't want to say that. It works for some people, right? But here I was busting 3 hours, maybe total commute. Sometimes it'd be 3 to 4 hours. On good days, it would be like a 50-minute drive, like straight from my apartment, right? But man, I would spend all this time driving up, back and forth, and I just felt like I couldn't do all the things I wanted to. Like I wanted to go jujitsu, I wanted to build out my business, I wanted to do so much, but here I was being held back. The reason why I tell you this story is because you might be unhappy at your current job, so always try to make your position better. It's really weird. My dad and we never really talked growing up at all. I was just like, I'm just so unhappy here. I need to escape. I felt like literally I was in jail every single day. I know it's the wrong way to look at things, but that's just how I felt. You know, let's be real. Like, I'll talk later about the good and bad, sort of about the retail pharmacy. It was really tough, like doing the drive, being always busy, and having that feeling that you couldn't always like provide your 100% to your patients because you didn't have enough resources. I think that's the thing that killed me, and I was like, I gotta look elsewhere. So I started interviewed with this company called Kroger. You know, at first I got denied for this overnight position. I was like really gung-ho, I really want to do an overnight position, I'll do anything, right? And I went on this interview. I thought I killed it, but apparently I didn't, because I didn't get the job, or maybe I got beat up by internal. You know what would be really good? I should probably ask my old supervisor to see like, why didn't she hire me the first time? I don't hear back at all. I was like, fuck man, this is never gonna end. And I just felt so hopeless at the time. I don't know, 6 months goes by, and I'm like, fuck this shit. Like, I can't do this anymore. So I sent an email out. I was like, this is what I felt like I was weak at, X, Y, and Z. Since then, I've been doing these projects, and I honestly was wondering if there's any like opportunities at this company, right? And she actually got back to me. She told me about the whole like pharmacy in West Hollywood and Los Angeles and stuff. So yeah, that's my story about how I got a job. But my key takeaway is that you just gotta work really hard. After I graduated, NAPLEX was saying you have a few months to chill. For me, it wasn't so much like I had chill time. It was more like a scramble for me. It's not like I was living out my parents' house. I was like trying to move. CVS was making me work as an intern as well, and they wanted me to pick up more hours. But it's really a fine line between picking up more hours and study time and try and balance all that. And plus, it's like a new place, so you honestly want to explore, you want to meet new people, because I was feeling very lonely at the time too. And that's definitely hard. When you're a new pharmacist, you're like moving into this new area most likely because there might be no jobs in your area. We don't always have the opportunity to just live at home. Pretty chaotic. I felt very stressed. But as soon as I passed my boards and my NAPLEX and stuff, man, I just celebrated. Which leads me to my next point, taking your exams. I know the NAPLEX has changed last time since I did my famous 300K like reality versus expectations video with Matt. Taking your exams, oh man, I just want to get it done. So I drove like hella far. So I'm in LA. I took my CPJE first, so that's the California law exam. I took it at the student state. I was like, fuck this, I'm gonna get this shit done. And most people take their NAPLEX then CPJE, but I was like, fuck this, I need to get this done ASAP. So like literally, I drive down to Burbank to do my CPJE. Like literally the next morning, I had to be in San Diego to take my exam, and people are like, you're fucking crazy. I think that's one of my strengths growing up too. I'm a fucking hustler. I am not the smartest, but I will do uncomfortable shit to make things happen. I was just determined to make my exam like this time, make my exams happen and stuff like that. That's my recommendation to you. Just really take your exams as soon as possible, because as soon as you get licensed, you can start looking for different opportunities. When you're in that transition period, I was trying to still look for jobs as like a graduate intern and stuff, but no one wants to hire you at that point. It's a lot harder because they're looking for full-fledged pharmacists, right? EmJustLikeYou also talked about the responsibilities of being a pharmacist. She was talking about how it's hard being a short little Asian, being a position when you're a manager. For me, I'm kind of short. I'm 5'8". I feel like when people look at me, they're like, damn, this chino's hella small, but I'm not like no small, scrawny Asian. I definitely feel that, especially when I was working with at CVS. Like I was this really young Asian kid, 25 years old. My technicians were at least 40, 50 years old. They're very well experienced, but it's not like I was coming in brand new. I was a technician just like them. I hustled as hard as them back in the day too. And so like respect is not given, it's earned. I would be in the trenches trying to help them out. They would help me out. But sometimes when you need to push, when you want direction, and there's certain sales goals or initiatives that you need to take charge of, you can't be the nice guy all the time. What I was learning was that there's a fine balance between management. No one wants to be that asshole manager, but sometimes you're just not communicating effectively. And I feel like I struggle a lot with that. You know, I was too busy trying to people please my technicians, people please my patients, and people please corporate, but like I just felt so torn in different directions because they all want different things, right? Like not until more recently I realized like, dude, what is best for my pharmacy? I'm put in this position, what is best for my pharmacy? Because like you said, every question goes to you, every problem goes to you, wrong medication issues go to you, or even if you're staff, because technically you are manager at that moment. How do you deal with patients that aren't satisfied? Like when you're first like a pharmacist, it's a pretty big transition. I remember filling my first C2, I was like, damn, there's all this responsibility, what do I do? It's very overwhelming at first, but it's just like a computer algorithm or like one of those treatment algorithms. You start seeing the same problems over and over again, and just like with reps, you know, you get better and better with each rep. That's how you get good at your craft. I mean, no one ever just studies at home. You can read all textbooks that you want, but you have to be in the field, working with patients, working with those opportunities that suck, like the angry patient. How do you deal with it? How do you resolve it? You can always escalate or de-escalate a certain situation. What do they actually want? They might be pissed that their refill still hasn't come in, but what steps are you taking to try to speed that along? At the end of the day, they want to feel supported. They want to feel like, oh, my pharmacist is looking out for me. They're like calling, faxing my doctor, they're contacting, they're keeping me updated. Those are the things that you have control of, and you can't always be fixated over the end result. Sometimes like after a certain amount of attempts, you just explain to the patient, keep the patient updated along the way. They really appreciate that, and that's how you don't get yelled at. You know, sometimes, like, honestly, it gets busy, but what takes more time? Would you rather front load the work, have happier patients, or have them call you, be pissed off at you, trying to resolve the situation when they're angry, which never goes well. They're just not in that state to really be receptive and stuff. And EmJustLikeYou was saying, like, problem solving, and I totally agree with this. This is like probably one of the most fun parts for me, especially with sales goals and me like being really into business. I really like performance, competition. Like a few years ago, I won this vaccination contest. We were top 10 of a whole corporate company, which honestly felt so freaking good. But I feel like since I won that contest, it's really hard for me to win again. I like problem solving a lot. I like hitting goals. Like, I like strategy. That is my thing. I like working with really sticky patients and dealing with problems. Like, a lot of people don't like dealing with like narcotics and early fills and stuff like that. And for me, like, it's kind of like a game of detective. It's not always fun. Some patients will get really mad at you, but at the end of the day, it's always your license. It's your decision. No matter what anybody says, what a corporate says or anything, like, it's your discretion. It's your license. You worked hard for this. Don't throw it away like just to people please, man. And you have two choices. You can either lie to your patient and say like, hey, we're out of stock on it, or B, you can be up in front, honest, and just be like, hey, you know what, honestly, this is a government report. This is saying you're picking up at X, Y, and Z. These are considered red flags in California. Unfortunately, I can't fill your script. And they might be pissed, but at least you can logically talk to them and communicate with them, you know, and just be like, hey, you know, what's the reason why you're taking this medication? I'm not judging you or anything, but, you know, if I fill this prescription, something happens to you, that's on my license, and I don't want you to end up in the hospital either. And sometimes they'll be like, that's bullshit, blah, 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 you don't really care about me. Hey, at least I was honest with you and I didn't give you that bullshit. We're out of stock sometimes, you know, which happens from time to time. Codeine drought is real.
We got purple activists, I thought it was a drought.
EmJustLikeYou talked about that weird transition where you're new, asking for help. Like I said, that wasn't really me because I worked for a retail chain ever since 2006. And then I was a pharmacist in like 2013, late 2013. So yeah, I never really had that because I already knew the perspective of a technician. And that's something I also agree with, like that she said, really get your feet wet. Try different fields. Don't just go to your normal CVS pharmacy. Try to look for opportunities like in hospital or different areas as well. I think that's so damn important. My friends tell me, yo, Kevin, you should go to a hospital. But at the same time, I'm just like, retail, one, pays really well. Two, I'm good at retail. Like, it's in my sphere of expertise, right? Sometimes when I go into a certain event, there's that instant judgment of like, you're not good enough because you didn't do residency, or you're not good enough because you didn't do fellowship. Like, I feel that, like, not from everyone. Like, when I talk to Brian, hell no, like, he's a really down-ass dude. But sometimes when I go into these events and they're like, oh, so you're a pharmacy manager, oh, that's cool, and it just makes me like, I feel like I'm very looked down upon. Honestly, that kind of sucks, because both being pharmacists, you know what I sort of go through. I hope you would know what I go through and all the achievements that I've done, like, because not all retail pharmacists are created equal. You know, I fucking hustle hard. Every single quarter, I at least hit a 10% increase in my sales or business, and I'm doing like less scripts but making more money. How am I doing that? What am I doing? What's the strategy behind that? There's that whole business strategy that I do that no one ever sees, right? And so I take pieces of the marketing that I learned from Noah Kagan, stuff that I learned from Ramit, Tim Ferriss. I like to take two different like areas and just mesh them together, man. I think that's the reason for my success, is because I'm really willing to look outside of pharmacy, what else is working in other fields, and just test them, right? But not to say I'm like perfect. There's a lot for me to learn. Like, I feel like that's a huge driver for my success as well. Not only am I hardworking, but I'm willing to be open to new ideas. EmJustLikeYou was also talking about the relationships that you have with your patients. She's talking about, I just heard you had a baby, or you just had a surgery. How did it go? Is there anything I can do to help? Right now, like with my relationships with my patients, after you spend like a certain amount of time in an area, you get to know people by first name basis. I think it's very important to know your patients by name because it makes them feel special, memorable. And when you do make a mistake or when you do encounter problems, they're more lenient and forgiving. They understand you because they know that you're coming from a good intent, and it's really building that trust. Without that trust, no clinical like program can ever succeed, because all the programs and everything are trust. Will you do what's best in their interests? That's what it really comes down to, right? You know that story when I was talking about switching pharmacies? I went through that. Keep in mind, I was in Hollywood, so people are fucking crazy already. I went through that period of where people are like, oh, you're the new pharmacist. It kind of sucks, you know, because people don't exactly trust you. They question your attention, and it's really taking that time. And a way to really build trust really quickly is just remember their name, or just remember certain things that they said and just follow up. No lie, I even talk about relationships in my pharmacy. Sometimes I'm just like a bartender. I feel like a bartender. I'm making up their medications just like bartender makes up their drinks, right? I just talk to them about life and stuff. I mean, that's what the art of pharmacy is. That's more the artsy side, where it's like the art of conversation, the art of really connection, you know? And I also use that to my advantage as well because I'm fucking good at it. EmJustLikeYou was also talking about how days in the pharmacy go really, really fast and how she really likes it. My challenge to you is like, who wants to go through life just buzzing really fast? Like one day you wake up, you're 25, and the next day you're like fucking 60, ready to retire. Who wants to go through life like that? Pharmacy is really cool because it gives me a way to help people out, right? But at the same time, there's so much more for me personally than just pharmacy. A lot of people, like once they hit 4 or 5 years like me, they want to jump into other stuff. They want something new. But it's personality. Some people like the same routine over and over and over again. For really people who are never really, I don't want to say satisfied, just like that Drake song, man.
I ain't never satisfied.
I'm just not satisfied just staying in the same place. I just want to keep on moving, you know? And I don't want to go through life just buzzing by in my life. How's my schedule like? Yeah, so there's different ways that, depending what state you're in too. I remember with CVS, there was like a 7 on, 7 off like type of rotation for floaters. My boy Manib, I did a video with him not too long ago, but he was actually talking about his 7 on, 7 off, right? And how he would travel a lot doing that. But it's really brutal because you're doing overnight for 7 nights and then you get 7 days off. I used to do it before, but there's a constant struggle where you're trying to get back into same sleep cycles, you can't work out. It's like weird, you know? I didn't really like it. I did it for a little bit, but luckily I just got to test it like a week at a time. There's people like me who work 12 hours. I work 12-hour shifts. Other people work 12, 14-hour shifts, no breaks and stuff. At least I get like an hour break. EmJustLikeYou was talking about 3 to 4 days, then 1 day off. Very rarely do I ever see like a typical 9 to 5 day. Maybe if you're a supervisor, but still, you're sort of even on call. Like if something goes wrong at the pharmacy, you have to go help out. That is my talk about what life is after pharmacy school. I've talked about similar topics like dating and stuff as well. But what are some other topics that you want to hear about pharmacy, life after pharmacy school? But if you're ever curious about what the social life is after you're in pharmacy, hanging out with interns and stuff, and that weird dynamic, let me know in the comments. Please like, subscribe, comment. I appreciate you like watching this video because honestly I need to get my watch time up so my ratings go up higher. If you know someone who is recently graduated or thinking about pharmacy school, please share this video. I think it's really important that everybody knows that there's good days and bad days with every single job, and you need to know the good and bad going into something like this, you know, because it's a huge commitment. You're putting in a lot of money and I don't want you to waste it, you know. Like I want you to know 100% what you're going into so you can make a better decision in life. That's what this channel is about. Anyways guys, thank you for watching. Love you guys from the bottom of my heart, and I bless you on your pharmacy journey. All right guys, peace.